Thanks for listening to Fluff and Crunch, where we talk about the connection and sometimes disconnect between system, setting, and story in tabletop RPGs. All right, I am now recording. So we're picking up with Act 2 of Trouble at Beta Inari 7. That was the name that I came up with on the fly as I was processing last week's session. Do you want to give a quick rundown as to where we are, what we're up to, and how we ended off?
Yeah, I'm writing the planet name down because every time last time I had to keep asking.
Beta Inari 7, and always with the Roman numerals.
I swear you just said 4.
Nope, 7.
Okay, so where did we start off? Yeah, that's the 7. The USS Tracy had received a distress call from some explorers that had gone to a planet, and then that was pretty much it. And so we ran 5 scenes in our our Act 1, which was an engineering scene. And we had a ready room scene where my Cation security chief was concerned with a lack of information, so we did some scanning or something. And then we had a montage scene of getting the troops ready. And so we went down to the planet with my Cation security chief and your
Efrosion chief engineer.
That's it. Yeah, I haven't got it written down. That's why I couldn't know. And then we had 3 other people. We had another engineer, which was Chief Barber, and the human science officer, and a Andorian, crewman. And we got down there and found the ship. I found the explorer's ship, which had been smashed up by some large alien species and then sort of destroyed more by a smaller alien species. And then we left the chief with our ship just in case. And we made our way through this jungle planet, hence our backgrounds, where we were attacked by some big lizard thing, which we managed to fight off, but not before Lieutenant Junior Grade Johnson had been injured. And that was where we finished our episode.
Take that.
Yeah, we didn't do anything. A little bit. The book gives you some suggestions of kind of actions you can be doing outside of combat, whereas we just kind of did straightforward success and fact, which actually is all these have. These just suggest various things. Where it does have, we did have a confusion last time of how exactly we do things using our crew. And there's a half-page call out box on actually how does your crew do things. But I think the one time we had to do this, we did it correctly. So even when we did things by guessing, we did them the way the book intended. So essentially the rules are pretty straightforward. Yeah,
and what we're talking about is some specific different types of incidents and roles right around page 200.
We didn't really get into there's more detailed rules for a combat, but we did a combat. We never really consider it as a combat because the point was it was meant to be we're ambushed and we just, it was just meant to be one scene thing. It wasn't meant to be like a run as a combat. That wasn't the point of it, which was just as well, because if it had been, we would have done it wrong.
So then we are now this group of 4. There are 4.
There are 4. Well, 3, and we don't know where Johnson is.
Oh no, I thought we found her.
I thought we heard her and we were going to find her. We could have found her off scene, so it doesn't matter.
All right, so I'm going to go. What is it? Commander Guattari, the chief engineer, is going to go dig around, hear her, yelling for help, and dig around in the smashed jungle foliage, like what's behind me, and look for her. Do we think that's worth a roll?
We just want to make a scene out of it, or it happened like off camera kind of thing.
Well, I mean, I don't think
we started into an ad break.
Well, I mean, it comes back from the ad. The monster's been chased off. There's some smashed foliage. We're looking around for Johnson. He enlists the help of the Andorian spec, and we dig around, and I think that they would find her. I don't think that's worth a roll. But that can be part of this scene.
Yeah, that's where we pick up. So as we pick up, we have found Commander Johnson, who had a dislocated right arm, because that was what we rolled last time.
Yep.
And I guess I need to try and patch her up then, which actually would be a scene. So we're going to patch up the lieutenant and continue following the trail, which is what we were doing.
Yeah, afterward. And meanwhile he's doing that, I think that Guattari and Spec would secure the area, phasers out and scanning and see if this thing is coming back.
Yep. So we can do 2 rolls then. So I'm
Mm-hmm.
going to do, blah, 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 blah. So I've got medicine. Ooh, what do we think medicine would be under? See, this is why we didn't look at the particular things here, because if I was doing this on the rule, the 4 different things that investigate, diplomacy, overcome adversity, and theorize, none of these would be appropriate. Maybe overcome adversary. So instead of like, yeah, I'm just going to roll. I know
think
what I need to do.
this is, what, overcome adversity is the perfect catch-all, because
Yeah.
a crew member with an injury is like overcome a problem, combat danger, or accomplish a task when there is a risk, deadline, or other pressure involved. That's the catch-all, and that makes sense.
Yeah. I mean, this is why these are handy things when you're trying to break things into categories, but like, I guess you could argue that what I'm doing doesn't require a roll. Anyway, I'm doing a roll. I'm using the wrong dice. Those are red dice. I'm yellow.
Mm.
But what do we think? So obviously it's medicine. That's the easy one.
I think
And
control.
I have a focus because I have field medic control. Oh no, we shouldn't have said that. Right. Well, because I've only got control of 7. That was like my dump stat.
Oops.
So 11. But I do have field medic, so I have a focus.
Yeah.
I got a 10. Oh, a 10's enough. So that's 2. So we are back to having momentum.
Good. And she's healed enough.
I've popped her arm back into it. And then use a thing.
Hypo spray to give her to take over, to dope her up, and
so she feels marginally better.
Okay, I think the question then is, do we have a sense of the whereabouts of the creature? Which I think would include the question of, is it coming back? Like, did you just bloody its nose? It ran off. Now it's mad, and it's going to come back after us, or did we chase it off?
Well, I already did a roll, so why don't you do a tri-quadri scanning roll, or get the crewman to do it?
All right, so the crewman is going to. What do we have for the?
Well, luckily on departments, it's command 2 and 3 on everything else. So I guess it's sensors. That's so weird, actually.
I rolled a 9 and a 10.
Well, we have sensors 9 and we have 3 in departments, so that's 12. So
wait, that's the ship.
It says in the rules, use the ship's department rank to represent the crew, and then it basically says roll the ship's system plus department as if they are your crew members.
But the thing is, though, that the ship's not involved here.
This is what it says.
Okay.
There's 3 options. Option 2 is make character sheets for non-player characters, which we have not done. And then option 3 is use a probability matrix as to whether it's probably or didn't succeed. What we can do, though, is actually, because so the scan is successful, but that doesn't tell us whether the thing is or isn't coming back. So we for that we do have to roll the probability matrix. Okay. So what do we think? What is our probability before I roll? And I'm rolling 2 dice for some reason.
I don't have a sense, like in myself, story-wise, I don't have a sense for whether or not the thing is like super aggressive, or if it's territorial and we're in its area, then I think it might be somewhat likely that it comes back, but not like super, like maybe 1 step away from even odds.
Right. So we'll go somewhat probable that it's on its way back. And I got a Star Trek symbol, which is a 1. So it looks like it's on its way back. So we need to get a move on and get out of this area.
Okay. I think that we should cash in our momentum to establish an advantage. Am I using the terminology right here?
Yeah.
And I think that we should do that in order to find a good navigable trail so that we can move quickly.
And I think this is a case where we've already done 2 rolls. Doing a 3rd roll to do that, like, that's the point of our momentum. We have momentum. We should be able to, as far as I'm concerned, burn it for the advantage. I'm just going to run away. So I think that's another successful scene. Oh, I never colored in scene 5. So we make our way out of the thing's territory, at which point I assume, I'm going to say it's highly probable it stops following us. Good, I didn't roll a 19 or 20. And there we go. So we go out of its territory and it leaves us alone.
Now, we don't know that. That is, we don't know that we're out of its territory, but after scanning, we have a sense that it's not following us anymore.
Yep.
Okay. I think Johnson's probably all right. Johnson is sore, but she can get back to work.
Yep. Which is
So
ironic because I know she's I keep thinking she's medical. She's science.
yeah,
Her job is that when we find, if we need science people to do science.
all right. Okay, a little bit of like pan back from the story here. Now we're in Act Two. We're in the second. We just finished the first scene, so we're moving to the second scene as we move to a new area. Um, in your typical three-act structure, lots of complications and information come to a head or well up enough in Act Two that they can then be resolved in Act Three. So, what in the rules or what can we do to try to push things in that direction so the plot has a rise so that it climaxes at the beginning of the third act and then gets resolved by the end of it? Not trying to force it to be that way, but so that there actually is a plot. It's not just like and then this
Yeah,
and then this and then that.
I don't think this. I can't see anything that's specific other than the fact that it says like you should use the 3-act structure, and it kind
Yeah.
of gives help on the 3-act structure. It doesn't then break that down into like the 5 different scenes that I can see. Other than, and then there's the thing like for the what to do for the finale. But that's about it. I think it must just be more of a case of the presence of mind to try and make sure that we need to ramp up to.
Right.
I mean, I can already think what the 5th scene of this would be, which would give us a good final act.
Well,
Thinking back to kind of what our what we were stealing from, not on purpose. We're only accidentally stealing from something because that's what we rolled when we did our rolling for the session.
yeah.
But I'm thinking of where we would want to be to a point where like, oh no, right, we've got to go and do blah 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 kind of thing.
Well, look,
But how we get there is another
the
story.
first time we're playing something or playing through something, we're testing it out and getting to know it. So, what are you thinking? Where do you think would make sense for us to be by the end of this this scene, so that we can, or act rather, so that we can
I think by the end of
we
the
can
act,
test the system and see if it actually is able to help us get to
I
that
think
end.
we need to have found either some explorers or some signs of the
Yeah.
explorers, and then realize that most of the rest of the explorers have been taken, and what's going to happen to them. In other words, they've been kidnapped by the workers and have been taken to the Queen.
Oh yeah, okay.
And are going to be impregnated
Or something horrible like that.
or
Yeah.
something horrible like that, and therefore act 3 may well be a lot more combat and
Right.
running and escaping, and maybe a piloting at the end to fly away from an exploding refinery / something else with a nuke in it.
Right. Well,
Not that I'm ripping off any particular.
You know what?
Actually, I've gone from Alien to Aliens just for some reason between last week and this week.
Well, it's the only way to be sure.
It's because there's multiple people, and
Yeah.
Alien there was
Well,
there was
okay.
there was one.
Okay, so I agree with you. Whether or not it's xenomorphs impregnating alien or our crew with chest bursters or something horrid like that. That aside, I think you're right. By the end of this act, we should have determined the status of the crew that we're looking for, but also should be in a position where we have to either stop something or rescue them, or a combination of the two. So then Act Three is we tumble into action to reach the resolution, the climax and the resolution of it.
Well, it might be that we have some action in this act, but that it should be a more minimal, like a lower level thing, but makes us realize that there's a big issue coming, kind of thing.
Okay, so
like we encounter one as opposed to lots.
Now we need some sense of, now that we've moved out of the creature's territory and we've made some progress moving through this jungle, what do we find now? I mean, aside from you and I just saying, let's say we find this, what can we drag out of the book to say, you found this, or give us some idea as to what we might have found?
I think we go back to, we might actually have to find something in a minute. I think we also go back to what we had done. So we've already done, we did a set of rolls in Act 1 to pick up the trail.
Yeah.
So we shouldn't have to really make a second set of rolls. We already picked up the trail. We've already found a way out of the monsters. We should know which direction we're heading in. So what would be cool is getting to it now. We knew from ages ago that there was an ancient ruin. I'm wondering if there's slightly more detail.
That's a good point because we have not encountered that yet. We just found our smashed to bits shuttle, assuming that the survey team was off looking for it. We don't even know, did the survey team, like, were they at the shuttle when it was smashed to bits, or was it smashed to bits and they weren't even near it?
I think
We
we
don't know.
assume, yeah, we don't know for sure. I mean, there was no bodies there,
No.
but again, based on what we're maybe going with, that doesn't actually mean anything.
I think that we should be. I'm curious about this long past alien presence on this world and the implication that we're going, because look, you and I know that, but our characters don't know that at this point. That's entirely meta. And so that is part of this story. How then do we incorporate that into the story for our characters? So
I
what
think
is there anything we can roll on that says that?
there's a thing we can roll on for location, which could be useful. And there's a thing we could roll on for the civilization, but maybe we do on these boats because we've said there's an ancient ruin, and the ancient ruin is like really ancient. Because the whole
Yeah.
thing we said we got the thing about ancient ruin, and there's alien explorers. So there's a very ancient ruin, and previously other aliens have explored it, and then now more recently Starfleet
Us.
people. Yeah, and there is stuff for like beasts. So when we come across a thing, we can roll to decide exactly. We've already decided there's a big lizard thing, which we've done, and we've decided there are smaller creatures which we'll need to roll. So we can roll on them when we encounter one of them, which could be soon. So let's actually say that we come to the route. We come out of the jungle, we come into a clearing. There is a ruin, and let's do a bunch of rolls on these tables to get a better idea. Because all we rolled previously was ancient ruin. That's it.
That was it. Yeah.
So I'm going to roll on these locations things, and if we get stuff that doesn't make any sense,
What
I'll roll
page are
it.
you on anyway?
I'm in the appendices, so I'm page 302 in the book, which is 308 on the PDF.
Gotcha. Okay. I'm headed there
So
myself.
if the stuff I roll makes no sense, we will bin it. That's a 4. I've rolled a 4. So cataclysmic, awesome start. Well, this tells us why they're dead. It doesn't tell us what it looks like, though.
Oh, okay. Or we can interpret that as such. Okay, I can live with that.
So we'll have to find that. That's something we might have to discover in a second. What I'm thinking then is I'm going to go back to the civilization to maybe that'll give us an idea of what the ancient people were like. We know there was an ancient civilization, and then something else has happened. So the chances are there's something else has happened to this planet since. All these people have been killed by something else.
Have you found a table anywhere that, I mean, we've got the table of like with the syllables to put together to come up with random world names, which actually is pretty clever. We have things about like habitats and junk like that. Is there anything in here? Have you seen a table yet that just provides random descriptors, like random adjectives, like
No, I don't think
what
so.
does the terrain look like? What does what are there
there's
buildings?
stuff, yeah,
If there are
there's
buildings,
things
what
for
do they
like
look like?
there's things for there's an appendix. It's appendix I don't know where it is. Appendix 11 is appendix on 207 tells us what the beasts look like if you're doing beasts. And then
Because
there's a table
actually, what would
that
really be
tells us what
useful is
different things
is a
look like.
table of adjectives.
Yeah, but we don't have that.
Okay.
Not that I can see anyway. Now, the generating random threat spends usually. Anyway, so we're going to come across some ruins. I'm just thinking that, at first glance, there is nothing obvious of what's happened to our people. So we need to look and see, can we find a more concrete sign now of what may have happened to our explorers, which is going to require a roll.
And the other question that goes with that is, do we see any trace of them? Now, you're assuming, and I'm cool with this, that we don't see them, but do we see any trace of them? Maybe that's
what I'm going to assume we do, but first we need a roll for it. So I'm not doing another cent. My control is abysmal. So like a control and I don't know, science, or if you've got a clever gadget, engineering seems useful here. We could get the science girl to roll, or you can roll.
I'll roll. I have a control and science. That's a total of a 13.
You got any useful focuses?
I have small equipment technology, so I can fine tune my tricorder.
That sounds good. I've actually got infectious diseases as a focus. This is like a perfect planet for me. It's like literally I can tick every single thing on this. I rolled a 19, which is bad, but not a complication. And a 5.
I rolled for myself.
You have dice now?
I have a dice roller in front of me.
Wow, well done.
I rolled an 8 and a 12.
Well, then you're doubly successful.
So we have momentum.
Or maybe find something. Maybe actually find a camp or where someone's been living.
Oh,
Yeah.
okay. So
All right. We definitely find signs of life.
looking around these ruins, we find some evidence of a camp,
Yeah.
but no people. So we're
No people.
confident that
Okay.
our Starfleet folks were here. Maybe that's what my role enables. That's what we find in poking around these ruins. Now, again, I wish that there was some kind of a table that would, or do you know of anything where there are, again, like building descriptors or types of, like, to give you a sense of what you see?
No, I mean there's things for like overall, like on the encounter probabilities. There's like where we got the ancient planet from. There's stuff for like what the whole planet is like, or what the whole,
Okay.
because this is how we ended up with the thing about the primordial planet full of enormous predators.
Yeah.
But it doesn't then subdivide further beyond that.
I think
Um,
you know what I think here's and we can just reduce this to rolling on the probability matrix of just like how likely our BS sounds like to be. I think that these alien ruins are, it's like an outpost. It's not, it may not be native to the planet. It may
yeah,
be
sounds
an
sensible.
outpost that was set up here by some aliens a long time ago, and maybe things went sideways for them.
I think this might be
And
the
and
third set of people that have come here and it's gone sideways for.
it could, the latest, and there could be an old, like, this is hundreds of years old, and it is, as we're scanning around, it's obvious what appears to be like prefab buildings, like rotted, like what's left of like vehicles and stuff like that. It was like a prefab outpost that was brought in and put here, and there's some alien language, written on the outside of it, like labels on buildings and things like that.
I think it makes sense because we said that there was, well, when we did our original roles, we had this idea that there was an original bunch of people who had come to the planet, or like, so now send that's an outpost. That makes sense. We don't need to roll for
Yeah.
that. And then we've come, but in between, we'd said that maybe there'd been another alien bunch of people that had come here exploring in the past as well.
Yeah.
But it really doesn't matter whether they have or haven't.
Yeah. I don't know.
What we
We
could
would
do
have to.
is finding is some kind of computer. If they come from another planet, they have to have like warp technology, or if they did, which means that they must have some kind of computer thing. So it'd be
Yeah.
useful if we can find a record of maybe what happened.
Okay. All right. So we
So
should get inside.
let's go looking inside a building.
Yeah.
So we'll call that, the fact that we found the camp, that's really useful. But for the moment, we have no further things other than the explorers
Right.
who've come here, found it, set up camp, and now have gone.
Yeah.
But the bodies aren't here.
Okay.
So
So what I think we should do is get into one of these buildings,
get into one of the buildings.
and then we see if we can, use our tricorders.
Well, you're an engineer, so yeah.
I'm an engineer, so I can make that happen.
All right. I'm just going to try and brute force open a door.
Go for it.
So that's going to be fitness, isn't it?
That'd be fitness and security.
I'm marking off scene 7. We did found the camp, but camp didn't help us, so we're going into a building. So Act 2, Scene 3, which is Scene 8 overall. I'm going to just brute force a door. So that is fitness and security, which is 16, but I don't have a opening door focus.
Did you roll poorly?
I did roll poorly. I rolled an 18 and a 19.
But you did not roll a complication. You just failed.
No, but despite having needed a 16, I somehow managed to fail.
Okay, well, I'm going to step up because I'm going to go ahead and use my my engineering know-how to, instead of brute force this thing open, to intelligently open it. So I'm going to go with control and engineering. I don't have a focus, I think, that really fits to this or fits with it, but I have a 16. So here we go. I rolled an 8 and a 1, so I got 3 successes. Count them 3. Part of the idea of momentum is that you can bank it. Now, I understand that this is the streamlined version of it, but I think for our sake that it's perfectly fine to, if you have momentum already, but you generate it again, you can use the momentum you generate in the moment on that roll, and then you still have the status of momentum. So I'm going to go ahead and say that because his using some of the power from the tricorder and wiring and like what it takes for him to fiddle around with the circuitry to get this door open, to give a little bit of juice into it or tap into some kind of reserve power that may be somewhere stored in this complex, he's able to learn something. He understands something about how their power systems work, which is going to help him later in getting a computer back to life. And on top of that, I do have a focus in power systems, so I guess that makes sense.
So I'm going to roll the probability matrix for whether there is a useful computer in here. I'm
Okay.
going to go with probable for the simple reason that TV world, if there isn't a computer in here, we just wasted the viewer's time.
Yes, that's true. Okay, I'm all for that.
Oh my God.
What?
Well, we just wasted the viewer's time then, because I said probable and then rolled an 18.
Oh,
So there's no computer. There must be something else more. Is there something useful in here? Probable. 12. All right. So something useful in here, which is not a computer. A tablet?
some kind of source of information.
Well, if it's not a computer, it's got to be books, right? Or it could be a picture.
A map.
Do you think the map would be useful?
I don't know. I like maps, but maps are always neat. But I don't know if they're useful. That's a good point.
I don't feel like what paper isn't going to survive thousands of years.
No,
unless there's
unless it's laminated.
Let's go with a map. Let's go with a laminated map and a big laminated chunky book next to it.
Yeah, or made of some material that's we can
made of some material which is not going to be destroyed after thousands of years. And I'm going to assume, I'm not even going to roll, because if our tricorders can't read or decipher this, it's useless to us.
Right.
So we managed to, so we can see the map shows the outpost. Well, it shows a map of the local area. The map shows the outpost,
right,
and then it shows the local topography. And then there's a symbol which isn't a big red X, but through our deciphering it, we realize it's basically danger. Don't go here. Somewhere further out into, I don't know, some hills or caves or tunnels nearby. The book, why would they have written it why would they have a handwritten book instead of just on a computer? Maybe computer things don't work too well. Maybe something about the planet slowly
or maybe just some unknown thing that we're never going to be able to figure out about their culture is that for whatever reason, like they create laminated sheets for everybody or something. Who knows? Maybe, who knows?
All right. So it's going to take a while to decipher the entire thing, but the short version is we have a diary, for want of a better purpose, of the alien races come to the outpost. They set up the outpost. They come to this planet. They were amazed at the amount of life here. They were sure they could get really good things out of it. But despite making a lot of effort and trying to build defenses, they kept getting attacked by big creatures and small creatures and fast creatures. And
but I think what we need to find out, but we're still in like the second scene, aren't we?
The third.
Oh, okay.
And we're at the end of it. We've only got 2 scenes after this.
Yeah. I think what we're probably on the verge of finding out is what destroyed or ended this alien exploration effort is the same thing that did in or is in the process of doing in the Starfleet survey group. And if we don't move quickly,
I have an idea then that will take 2 more scenes.
Okay. And if we don't deal with it or get away from it very quickly, we're going to be the next ones in the chain of doom. I think that there's probably a sense of foreboding as Johnson and my character Gotari start to figure out, like, wait a minute, something's like there's a sense of, we don't know what, but there's a sense of concern. Clearly there was an expedition here that is not ours, very old, and it failed. We think something failed. There's probably ominous music, and then it goes to commercial.
Okay, so here's what I was going to go with, is that as we've looked at this, we're looking at the map, we've got an idea of maybe that's relevant. We don't know. Yeah. At that point, through the open doorway stumbles one of the explorers. Well, a person who looks human, and they're wearing a Starfleet outfit, so we can, and they've got a non-Starfleet bag. We can tell they're a human.
Yeah.
And they stumble in. They don't look very well, and say something along the lines of, "Oh, I'm so glad to find you. Please, you have to rescue all of the others because they're all in danger."
Okay.
So for this, we can use either diplomacy or we can use investigate to try to talk to the person to find out.
I think it would be both. Gotari again and Johnson would be interested in maybe like scanning this person, or rather maybe your Cation, with the whole field medic thing, would recognize, like, wait a minute, what's this person's medical status? Are you okay? So one person's scanning the dude while the other ones are trying to get a situation report. So you
Um,
talk, and Johnson will scan.
I'll find them a seat and offer them some water, and then I will simply ask them, right,
Hey, man.
are you one of the explorer team, and what's going on? And I've used the
Right.
wrong dice again. Well, I rolled a 20 for a complication, which is awesome because I kind of pictured in my mind what was going to happen next. And it's not
Okay.
exactly what you were
I'm
thinking.
fine with it.
It's a worse variation of that.
I'm totally fine
So
with
we'll
that.
do the talking. We'll do the talking. We'll get some information, and then we'll jump to the last scene, which will then set us up for next week. Anyway, so the explorers get to say, I'm Click. I'm part of the exploration team. But soon after we got here, we were attacked. Our ship
Yeah.
was destroyed. But we made our way to these ruins, which we were kind of investigating, and then we were grabbed by creatures, and then they looked scared at the point of asking about the creatures.
So wait. The creatures look scared, or the crew
He
as they
looked
are being
scared.
grabbed?
No, so Click
He
looked
looks
scared to mention the creatures.
okay.
So, but they didn't kill us. They incapacitated us and dragged us off into some tunnels nearby.
Do you know where? We ask him, do you know, so in asking him where these tunnels are, do we show him the map of the area? Does it happen to be the alien red X don't go here
Yeah,
symbol?
he says that. Yeah, that looks about right. But I'm not going back. Please go and rescue the rest of my
Okay.
uh, crew. Crew's not the right word. Exploration.
No, his teammates, his crewmates, his
Yeah.
shipmates, the others.
But yeah, I'm not going back. It's awful there. They
So
and then he doesn't seem
Guattari,
to be able to explain how horrid and awful it
yeah,
is
yeah.
because I can't
While
picture that bit
he's
in my head.
while he's yammering and getting all being scared and whatnot, Guattari is scanning. I do have a medicine of what? Of 2 and a control of 11.
That's
I
gone in.
do have small equipment technology as a focus, but I rolled a 1 and a 7. So I got 3 successes. And I'm going to cash in that momentum. I get detailed medical information on this dude.
All
What
right,
is
he's
like his
something.
physiological state and his mental state? What's going on here?
His mental state's like all of his anything that you'd be able to scan for mental state would be spiking. Like his mental state is
Right,
all
right.
over the place. Like he's got like a massive panic reaction kind of
Gotcha.
thing going on. Physically, something is basically, I don't know if rewriting his DNA is the right word, but something along the lines of like there is something massively undergoing inside him that's going to force him to totally change. There's not like a foreign body inside him, but it's like his whole body is being attacked by something
So some
major.
kind of alien genetics. It seems like this something is happening, and it's rewriting his genetic code and turning him into heaven only knows what, or
Yeah.
maybe who knows. Okay, that's
So I'm going to
bad.
take my complication at this point, and the fact that you've now discovered something's going on. We'll use this to go into the next scene, which can give us a combat scene. His whole, I don't know even this is possible biologically, his whole body basically turns inside out.
Sure,
So
it's
everything just
possible.
like
Star Trek.
bursts open and rips inside out and then twists around. So like his insides are on the outside, and that's now what is there. So I guess the intestines are hanging around. It's a good job this isn't
So
this isn't
what
a
I see,
PG.
I see him start to convulse like a patient from a house episode, and he jerks back, and he just goes, and it rips, but it doesn't like just rip open. It like folds back,
Yeah. So
and he
now it's just
comes.
like this big floppy thing with like I guess tentacles and bits of just
Oh yeah,
ooze and blood and everything, floppy intestines flying around. So it's just this big blobby messy thing. I guess something like from the thing. It'd be like a
yeah,
thing.
yeah.
He's like ripped himself inside out and immediately attacks. Well, I guess we'll go with no, we need to kill off the crewman. So I guess he goes for the crewman.
Yeah.
Um, and that can put us into, we can do a proper combat scene.
Yes.
So I'm going to be mean and just have him take out Enser, the crewman, whatever his name is, crewman Shpeg.
Speg.
Speg's gone.
So, oh, you're just gonna just fiat say Speg
Yeah,
gets.
Speg's had it.
So
Speg's
maybe
kicked
like
him.
as this thing turns inside out, one of the ribs becomes like the rib cage rips open and becomes like spines, and one of the ribs just reaches out, just impales Speg, and it's like he falls to the ground, and there's this rib attached to the end of like a ligament or something like that that's now animated, and then it pulls back out, and there's a gout of blood that sprays out, and it's horrible. Yeah, I like that. That's
All right,
awful.
so we'll stick with a standard combat thing, but I think we'll do because we got 3 remaining characters. Each hit we take will be one of our characters going down. So if we get 3 hits on us, we're all gone. So that's going to be, so then we'll wake up captured. And if we can get 3
Okay.
hits
Yeah.
first, we'll do it. Because it's meant to be like your character has 3 hits, but since we have 3 characters, we'll just do 1 hit per character, unless we can get 3 hits on him. Actually, I seem to remember it saying initiative somewhere. I'm sure I saw the word initiative. Did I imagine initiative? There we go. Who attacks first the scene? If there's an ambush, yeah, we did that. Yeah. Oh, they may score an automatic hit. Yes, we did that.
Which they just did. The Andorian is dead.
It doesn't tell. So it's basically it's narrative first. Who do we think narratively?
So I think that
first?
the act of it
He had his first attack.
splattering open and stabbing Speg. Now one of us gets to attack.
Right. Well, I don't have a weapon to hand, but I am good at hand-to-hand combat, so I'm just gonna.
Oh no, I think you have a phaser on your belt. You're a security officer.
Yeah, that seems a bit dangerous this close in case I went for
No
someone
way.
else. I need a.
Let me ask you this.
I'll just.
Does your Cation, to your Cation's highly trained mind, you have cat-like
I've
reflexes.
got claws.
You
I've
have
probably
claws.
got claws. I could just
That's
claw
true.
it.
But do you
I'll just
want to touch the goopy alien thing?
No, I want to find something nearby that I can pick up and smash it with.
A chair. Are there alien chairs?
I'll use Speg's lifeless body.
Okay. Wait, what is
No,
the Speg?
okay.
Does
But
Speg have a
Speg had a blaster rifle, so I'm going to pick up Speg's blaster rifle and
phaser
bludgeon it with that.
rifle?
Phaser,
Phaser
sorry.
rifle.
I'm looking at the picture. I'm still calling it a blaster
Anyway, if
rifle.
it's a blaster rifle, you know it's going to miss. So, okay.
Only
So he picks up the
stormtroopers
phaser rifle.
using it. I'm going to pick up the phaser rifle and just smack it with that.
Oh,
Right, you can remove a hit with momentum. Oh, that makes sense. You could because it could be you're doing something to like heal the rest of your queue. So I am just rolling. So what am I right? Daring for combat.
yes.
Daring
and
security.
security.
17. I have hand-to-hand combat, so I shouldn't be able to mess this up. Oh, for God's! And that's a 1. Woohoo! I couldn't remember the Star Trek symbol was good or bad. That wouldn't make any sense for it to be bad. So I got 3. I got 2 extra ones. So we definitely got a hit. I'm gonna put a little table. I need a box now. 3 boxes. So us and I'm going to put a big X thing. Right. So we've got 1 hit on it. So because I gained momentum, I can spend momentum to add an extra hit to the opposition.
I think so.
So that means it's taken 2 hits already. So I give it a proper smash and cage through a bunch of the bones and bits. They're all flinging everywhere and pus and stuff goes everywhere. All right. Okay. So the weird thing is then it should be it attacking because you just keep going round and round. Yeah. It's like if you succeed, you put hits on it. If you fail, it puts hits on you. There's no...
It doesn't attack. Yeah. So that would mean that I get to attack now.
I think. Yeah, or you could choose to pull the other person to safety, or it's your choice.
Nope. Johnson she got training. She's got to put it to use herself. I'm going to go ahead and shoot it.
Oh no, I hope you don't miss and hit Johnson. That would look bad on your record.
That would be a complication.
Yeah,
that's totally fair. So I'm going to go ahead. Let's see. Let me see if I have any values. Nope, none of my values apply here. So my daring and security is 12. So I'm gonna pull that phaser out and little phaser 2 and pew. Oh snap!
You rolled a 20, didn't you?
I rolled a 20 and a 14. So I not only failed, I got complication. So I think what happens is that as I try to do the, pull the thing out and, drop my tricorder and fire with the phaser, I'm a little slow on the draw. And so consequently it slashes me with one of its rib knife things. So I take a hit and I end up, do I wing Johnson with the phaser?
Yeah, we don't need to kill her. That would be
no.
Because a hit isn't your dead. A hit is your out.
It takes 1 hit. I actually think that it'd be more likely that maybe in me trying to be the hero and shoot the thing, I'm clumsy. It slashes me with one of its rib things. And Johnson, trying to get out of the way, ends up lunging closer to it or stumbling closer to it. And then it has part of its intestines come out and grab her.
You just don't want to shoot it, do you? You
Well,
know,
the idea of being winged by a phaser seems stupid. If the phaser's on kill, like it disintegrates.
yeah, fair
You know
enough.
what I mean?
Okay,
So
yeah. So it grabbed you, and then yeah, Johnson got grabbed by it and is being strangled. So she's out of the couch. She's being strangled by the intestines. You've been slashed, and you're on the floor like.
yeah.
So
Oops.
it's down on Krull to save the day.
But Krull's
Uh,
gone, but Johnson hasn't gone.
Johnson's being slowly. Do we want to give Johnson a go?
Sure, Johnson. She's
Oh
not just gonna
God.
lay there and be like,
Well,
I'm being
she's got a
strangled
hand.
by a
She
horrid
is she can
intestine."
she get one hand out then and
Yeah. What
go on
what
then.
if she's really Hua and she grabs one of like the rib spikes on the end of the entrail and she takes its own thing and stabs at it with it. I
No,
don't
she can
think
go.
she's
The
just
brain's probably exposed. We said it went inside out, so you could see its brain, and the
yeah.
brain's still going to be the thing control it. Go on then. I'll roll for Johnson. You rolled last. So Johnson, I guess I roll weapons, which is really weird. But
Yeah, you know what we need to come up with? I think it'd be smart is to maybe not come up with stats for all of them, but come up with maybe stats by rank or not maybe make it less complicated, like generic crew member, department head, just come up with combat stats for
I
them.
think when you've actually only got six attributes and 6 disciplines, it's super easy to just write a list out of the handful of character you might. But yeah, it's a good
Yeah.
idea to have a generic set of like command, like you said, like bridge crew, like away team crew, just kind of generic things that you can roll on. But yeah, it's easy enough to be able to stat some guys up if you wanted to. But since we haven't, I'm just going to use the
Yeah.
what we've got here, which unfortunately is only rolling on a 9. But she only needs 1 success to get a hit. So
Correct.
come on, Johnson.
Come on, Johnson, you can do it.
Oh, look at that. I got a 6 and a 1.
Right
So
on.
yeah, she grabs into the rib cage, which is already protruding, snaps off one of the ribs, and just goes to town on the guy's brain. And there's just brain fluid just spurting everywhere.
That's 3 hits on it.
Yeah, she did. Yeah.
It's gone.
There we go. Johnson goes to town on it, and brain fluid spurts everywhere, and Johnson is released from its intestines.
Is this
covered in
now
brain goo.
as we're there, you know, the goop, the thing is just turning into sludge and chunky bits there. Are we infected? Those of us who took damage from it, are we
I'm
infected?
hoping not. I guess we can roll in a minute. My assumption is that they have to be put into like, I don't know, like kind of some sludgy slime thing which slowly changes your body,
Okay.
and or something injects something into you. So because otherwise just otherwise we're all infected, we're all screwed.
Yeah.
We can roll.
I actually like the idea of infection being a little tougher to come by. So I think it's highly unlikely.
All right. It's highly improbable that we are
Improbable.
infected.
There we go.
Ooh, I rolled a 3. Good job you said highly improbable. Because we are not infected. Just.
So now this is the end of
Yes.
scene 5, the end of act 2. What do we know now?
So we know that there are aliens that grab people, and we know they do something that turns humans inside out and into horrible monsters. And we know the rest of the explorers have been captured, and we roughly know where they are. So we need to get to them and get out with them before any of them are infected. Or if they are infected, I guess we just have to kill them.
Or at least get away.
Yeah. And then we should mark this planet as a biohazard.
Oh, yeah. Yeah. Yes, we'll come up with another general order that this will be like Talos 4. Don't go near Beta NRA 7 or else.
Yeah, it's a shithole. Leave it alone.
Yeah, sorry. Okay, does anything ominous happen before the end of this act?
Yes, because we need a time limit.
I think that having the poor crewman blow up, I think that Johnson will hold up her tricorder, which had been, processing information or whatever, and she realizes that this genetic change that causes this horrible eruption has a time limit on it. And so if we have any chance of saving any of those other crew members, if that's possible, we need to get moving post haste. Like we don't have time to clean the goop off our uniforms. We need to get going.
Oh, what about Speg? Oh, Speg's dead. Speg's dead, baby. Speg's dead.
Yeah. Okay. My lingering here's actually this is a cool thing. So we grab all our stuff. We grab the two phaser rifles. I grab the extra phaser 2 that was there. You know, if there's an extra, so I got 2 guns, and we head off toward the caves. And the scene and the act ends with a view of Spec. And the question is, does Spec somehow like reanimate?
Yeah, like a zombie.
And come after us?
Good one.
Or is found like staggering around, or could be, yeah, anyway. Do we want to roll on that, or do we want to hold off on rolling that until later to see if he pops up in Act 3?
Yeah, we could do that, because if we like get through the scenes quicker than planned, then we can have a Speg comes back scene.
All right. And then it goes to commercial.
Yeah, that went well.
Yeah. All right. So let me ask you this. Are you okay with our characters buying the farm?
Oh yeah, I don't care. They're
Okay.
like we designed it just for this.
Okay.
It'd be a short TV series, but
Yeah. Well, it'd be a book. It'd be a novella or something like that. But I think
it's quite funny because our characters are competent. So like you're like, oh, we're not failing any roles, and then suddenly I did roll a complication, and then you fluffed a roll, and you go from nothing bad's going to happen to we're screwed really quickly.
But I'm okay with that. I like the possibility of things going sideways, because then you have to you just have to deal with the creatively with, well, what does that look like?
Yeah.
If there isn't any risk, there isn't any there's no drama, I don't think. So
yeah,
I just wanted to make sure that you were cool with that. I'm sure that we were. But if the USS Tracy loses some of its crew members and 2 of its department heads on this mission, these things happen.
Yeah, that's why they killed. That's why it wasn't the main bridge crew that went on this mission.
Oh yeah, good point. You did point that out.
It's a new R-rated TV show that they're trying now, where they're just going to off a bunch of the crew in an early episode to show that they mean business, that anyone can die.
Yeah, we're serious about this.
Yeah.
All right, cool. All right, so then in our next and final episode in this arc, we will go into Act 3 and figure out what happens from there.
Yeah. You may or may not rescue. I feel like rescuing the explorers is irrelevant, because if you rescue them, they could still be. And we still actually know what the aliens is, because like I'm assuming like the aliens take them and put them in a thing, even if it's just like a goopy swamp, which turns them into these things. And then I don't know why they do that. Maybe there's a byproduct of doing it. We still don't even know what the alien things look like, so we can roll when we get to their next stuff.
Yeah. And it could well be. Remember that we found out in Act 1, we found evidence of 2 different kinds of DNA.
Yeah.
So there was the big stompy dinosaur thing that wrecked the shuttle, but then there were those other things. The other things could have been like reptileoid creatures. The DNA from them was native to this planet, but has long since been morphed and twisted into these hunter-gatherer. You go out and you hunt out sentient beings to gather, to stuff into the goop ponds, and that's how this species reproduces. Like it's some kind of I don't know what it is, obviously, but that's how it reproduces.
Yeah, luckily we don't need to. It doesn't matter. This thing, if you were doing it as a DM, you'd have to try and think. You'd have to plug all the holes and think of all the reasons. Actually, when you're doing it like this, it doesn't matter. I think it's a lot easier to think of it as a TV program where just keep it moving and it doesn't matter.
Yeah. I also, I'm personally, when it comes to stories in general, I'm happy with unanswered questions. Like I don't need every knot neatly tied with a bow. Like we find out everything. No, we don't necessarily have to. In fact, I'm fine with that. An alien planet like this. So we'll see how that does for us next week. Thank you so much for listening. You can visit our show's homepage at anchor.fm/fluffncrunch. That's FLUFFNCRUNCH. We would really appreciate feedback and reviews on whatever podcasting platform you're listening to this on. Thanks so much.